Hey, what's up, Hog Pods? Got a very cool interview today here with Kevin Barron of Mutant Reptiles. I'm just going to let you take off, Kevin. Tell us about Mutant, how you came up with it, how you came up with your logo, what it means to you.
Well, first of all, my name, me and my daughter went to Daytona in 2016. We went with plans, obviously not to really come back with anything. She was interested in reptiles, and I was like, let's go. So I took her. I didn't have any reptiles at the time, and my wife's like, don't bring anything back. And that's always usually how it goes. And I took a 10-year break from keeping reptiles, but I did Daytona for 10 years before that in Orlando. So we went, and I kept leopard geckos and a lot of everything back in the day. And we went and we saw some morphs, and we picked up a trio of leopard geckos. And on the way back, we were talking, and I was like, I could breed these things, So we came back on the drive, and I'm like, I'm going to name my Instagram page Mutant Geckos. So it was Mutant Geckos forever, and for about 6 or 7 years, I was strong into breeding leopard geckos and really strong about quality genetics and breeding polygenics. And, over the years, I kind of got a little, I've always been kind of what they coin as a Noah's Ark keeper. So I kind of got bored with just keeping one species, and I did do AFTs, and I did all the species and subspecies of Eublepharis. But I had a really good friend, Jamie of JNC, which I known from high school, and he did hognoses. So I went to his house, and I picked up some hognoses, and I had a tortoise, and I have a iguana that's not breeding, a rhinoceros iguana, and I was like, I don't really want to just breed one thing anymore, so we're gonna do a name change. So the name change came to Mutant Reptiles. It's very close to Mutant Geckos, and I like the name. It speaks volumes when talking about morphs. And as far as my logo, my wife came up with the design. It's very simple. Logos are supposed to be simple. When you see it, you know what it is without having to, have words to it. Even my 2-year-old at the time, when he saw it, he was like, mutant geckos. All he had to see was a biohazard sign, and he was saying mutant geckos.
Awesome.
So that just, you see a biohazard sign, you think mutant reptiles, and that's how the logo was born.
I love it, man. That's so cool. And I think it's super cool, how you're talking about brand recognition with your kiddo, and it just seems like it's a, family deal. And man, that's really awesome. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, most definitely. Big family's huge into it.
So that kind of encompassed question number 2. Obviously this podcast focuses on hognose, but I know you have some of the other species that you've worked with. But what about right now? Do you only keep hognose? I think you got some Pityophis and some other stuff. Tell us a little bit about other species you work with right now.
Oh, I love everything. And I actually got hognose. I think hognose were my second snake. So I'm a species guy, and I love wild types, and I've always been about wild types, but I also love morphs. So my buddy John, Palm Beach Colubrids, I went to his house, and he keeps so many, rare colubrids, and not many colubrids people keep. So I fell in love with Phryonax pacillinotus. They're from Costa Rica, also known as the neotropical bird eater. And those were actually my first snakes. I picked up a 2.2 of those.
Cool.
And when I decided to get into snakes, I was like, I've already made up my mind of what I was going to get. It was always going to be a 2.2 of Phrydonax, a 2.2 of Barron's Racers, and a 2.2 of Rhino Rat Snakes. And then the hognose were going to be my morph project. So that's what the plan was. So things don't always turn out like you plan. So I also have another friend, Chris, from Badlands Herpetoculture, and he's a snake pusher. So he called me up one time. He's like, "Hey, I got some gray bands. Are you interested?" And I'm like, "Nah, not this year. Maybe another year." Because I try to always stick to my plans when I make a plan. And the next year he called me up again. I got some Pituophis Jani, Depi Jani, and I got some gray band. I got a gray band. Are you interested? I said, send them over. So that started with those. And then, so I had some gray bands and some Jani introduced to the collection. And then I started looking around, and I really was interested in some black milk snakes because, who doesn't love indigos? And, the indigos are so hard to keep in Florida. You got to jump through so many hoops. And black Mexican kings are kind of like common, and they don't get as big as the black milk. So I'm like, I'm getting some black milk. So I waited around. I looked for a couple years. I found a pair that I really liked, unrelated pair, and babies, of course, because I start everything with babies. So I picked up a pair of babies that I'm still growing up, and they're still tricolored. And then I was watching an auction, and my wife decided to pull the trigger on some bull snakes. So she bought a trio of bull snakes basically for me. And actually, that's not true. She bought a pair of bull snakes, and we got them. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh man, these things are really cool. So I started looking at bull snakes, and I didn't see anything that I loved, except I was looking at Instagram, and I have somebody I follow for years, which I really, and I see him at Daytona every year, and he's a super cool guy. It's Matt from Peach State Pythons, and he got into bull snakes years ago. So he had this exanthic white-sided female up on his story, and it was the last one he had. So I was like, hey, how much? He told me the price. I said, that's mine. And it was at my house the next week, and the thing is amazing. The thing is so cool, man. It was like the coolest bull snake. It's got such a great personality, behavior. It's such a cool bull snake. And then, I started looking at more milk snakes, so I picked up 6 more milk snakes, Stewart Eye, some more hogs, and that's the story. I mean, I probably have things I'm not even mentioning, but I'm pretty sure that's about it. Maybe. There might be a couple things, because now it's very diverse, so I could miss things. I'm at that point where you forget about things here and there.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's so cool, man. So question 3, so you mentioned the hognose right at the end there. What's your favorite hognose morph, and why?
I have 2 that are very hard to say which one is my favorite. But I'm going to start off with one that's pretty much, I love Lemon Ghost Woma. I mean, I love Lemon Ghost Woma. Lemon Ghost, it's such a beautiful snake, especially the Woma. It just reminds me of kind of like a little rattlesnake. It's just such a cool snake. And it's cool because you could line breed, not really line breed, but selective breed, let's say, because hogs aren't really good for line breeding, but selectively breed them. And then my top dog is going to be a double recessive, and that would be the Storm Cloud. I am just infatuated with the Storm Cloud. It's the reason I really got into hogs. I just can't stop thinking about the Storm Cloud, man. I think about the Storm Cloud way too much for a 50-year-old man. It's insane. I love that snake, man. I just want to make them. I want to make condas. I want to make super condas. I want to, add other recessives in the Storm Cloud. I want a line breed Storm Cloud. It's like Storm Cloud is the only thing that I really want to, my goal is Storm Cloud. And do I sound too excited about Storm Cloud? I'm sorry.
No, man.
That's how much I love it.
You don't, and I love that morph too. The darker morphs have always appealed to me, so I can kind of mirror with you right there because, yeah, that's just they're just incredible animals. They're incredible morphs, and, I'm looking at making making them myself. Obviously, I've got some of your animals from that project, and so yeah, man, I agree with you that they're just incredible, man.
Incredible snakes, dude. Incredible snakes. I can't wait to make some. Maybe in if I get lucky, maybe in 2024, if some of my animals that are supposed to be possibles turn out to be, some of my animals that turn out to be possibles in 2025. Is it? Yeah, 2025. Maybe 2026, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to definitely make storm clouds in 2026, no matter what.
Yeah, man, for sure. So while we're on the hognose hobby talk, this is question number 4, do you have any frustrations with the hognose hobby, whether that be the marketplace, the individuals within the marketplace, the husbandry of hognose snakes? Do you have any issues with hognose snakes as a species? Any frustrations? And to couple with that, any resolve that you've been on to kind of counteract some of the things you see as frustrations?
I don't really have too many frustrations with hogs. When I first got one of my first year breeding hogs was actually last year. And the real true frustration I had with hogs was learning how to get them to feed, and not really learning how to get them to feed, actually teach myself patience to learn how to feed hognose. Because if you're going in with like you have to get into a relaxed mode when it comes to feeding hognose, because there's no rushing when you're feeding hognose babies or trying to get the ones that are stubborn feeders to feed. So that was really my only true frustration with hogs. For the most part, I've had nothing but really good experience with hognose. I just love their behaviors, their bluff striking, their keeled scales, their nose, their brumation. I mean, there's so many great things about hognose. I mean, I hear other people that have some frustrations. I like everything honestly, I like everything about hogs. I've had no frustration. The community seems to be really good with hogs. The market for hogs right now is a little on the slow side. But that doesn't really matter to me. I'll just breed a little less and this year, and I'll work on the projects that mean a lot to me, and just keep on going forward. But I'd like to see, I keep my hogs in a 55-40 ARS, females and adults, so they have a lot of room. I have some hides in there. I'd like to decorate them more. I really would love to get just cages for all of them, to be honest with you. I just love seeing them. I mean, I have the clear tubs on my rack, so at least I get to see them and everything. But no, I had really no frustrations with hogs at all, or the hobby. Everybody's been super cool in the hobby. It doesn't seem like people argue or fight, but that's my whole experience in the reptile community. I mean, I've had a few people, challenge me, but I don't put out what I get in sometimes. I just kind of try to diffuse the situation, and I just don't argue. I don't got time for that. So I don't know. It is what it is. I love it. I love the hognose hog.
Good, man. Yeah, that's an awesome perspective, man. And I definitely appreciate that, and can mirror lots of those points you made on there. Feeding can be a kind of an uphill deal, I guess I kind of take it for granted having done it for so long, but I can definitely relate back in the day when we were trying to get projects going. We pull a lot of stuff out of the wild to establish bloodlines in captivity. And 10 or 15 years ago, like the spider line of hognose, which looked very similar to the Woma lemon ghost, getting those going a lot of times was a huge challenge. And man, it's good to learn that stuff and just kind of employ it, bring it in to be part of your repertoire. And yeah, it was a real good thing. But while we're on that wisdom, topic, the things we've learned through the years, question number 5, is there any wisdom that you would give to the beginner you, coming into hognose? You remember when you got your first ones, what have you learned that you could go back and tell your former self, hey, XYZ? Anything you'd tell yourself?
That's a hard one because I went into hognose already learning from leopard gecko, keeping leopard gecko morphs. So as far as that goes, I'm just going to kind of take my wisdom from the leopard geckos and apply it to the hogs. And that would be, don't try to breed every morph. Most of it, take it as a hobby, build very slow. And you hear that from everybody and a lot, but it's really cool to have every morph and this and that. But I would just stick to like 3 or 4, or if you're going to go bigger, I just think when you build too fast, it becomes a lot of work, and then you're going to eventually burn out. I did build up a huge leopard gecko. I hold back a lot of stuff. So, and then things get older, and then you wind up with 300 snakes, and it just becomes a lot of work. That's what happened with me. Leopard geckos, I didn't completely get burned out. I still do leopard geckos. I've still bred some this year, mostly all wild types. I have a passion for wild types, so I pretty much stick to those. I just say don't breed every morph. You don't need to breed every morph. Pick 3 morphs and work on those. And, I feel like the hognose community could still breed polygenics into their lines. Make the best possible looking morph you can. Just don't try to throw, recessives together. It's pretty cool. It's fast results. You get to see, the fruits of your labor. But, polygenics is just something that you could work on, and you could have the best looking red albino out there. All you have to do is put in the work over time.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I've worked with hognose for 20, I forget what it is now, 27, 29 years, something like that. But regardless, at least getting going, I've kind of been with this hobby as it evolved into what it is today. And I find myself now, kind of like you're saying, plugging yellow stuff in, like I've got some really cool lemon ghost, true hypo and true hypo Arctic lemon ghost, and just infusing color into a lot of the projects I've worked with for a while. I've got red and a ton of stuff. I took 4 different lines of red, Phoenix, extreme red, purple, raging red, combined them to just make a phenomenal bloodline that I can work with and kind of see kind of where it goes. And thus far, it's been great just seeing the results, and just hoping to hone in and find the perfect balance of each of those. But none of them are. In one clutch, I could have 4 of them that look just like the bloodlines they came from, and several of them that mix. But point being, it's just I've just found so much joy in the basic colors, the greens and the yellows and the reds. And it's just, I don't know, just kind of like coming around full circle. There was a while where I really wanted to grab every morph I could and bring them all in. But like you said, it kind of tends to burn out because you're not a specialist anymore. You become a generalist. And if you've got a big following, or you've got a lot of people buying from you, you can totally go that generalist route and do well. But I really wanted to, kind of hone in on some stuff and kind of tackle and rat hole certain projects. And so, man, I'm with you on that. I think that there's a whole lot that we can do by specializing.
Yeah, and that, just like you said, when you put 2 different snakes together, you're not gonna, I did a shadow to a shadow head albino to a purple line, and out of like 20 eggs, I got one special one. that I held back. That is the cream of the crop. So polygenics doesn't, you don't just, everything else looked pretty much like the mother, but I got that one special one.
Yeah, man, the shadow, I think, is a very slept on morph in hognose, and I've had them for a long time. I imported my first ones, back in 2008 from Barry Lucas. I've worked with them several different times, imported some maybe 2015. Just some cool stuff. And the combos, they're beautiful. When they're thrown into sable, they produce a beautiful gray. They've got their own red with a gray background that is just blow your socks off. So man, I'm excited to see what you come up with and produce out of your combos. And I encourage the hobby to really look into it. And just so everybody knows, look in the link below or in the description below. You're going to see the links for Kevin's stuff. You'll see for Mutant Serpents, Mutant Reptiles. Hit him up and ask him about stuff. He loves talking about this stuff, and I'm sure he's got pictures of some cool stuff and has stuff available. We'll have a link to his morph market. You guys just kind of see what Kevin's got going on. Kevin, man, thanks so much for joining me and just kind of talking through everything. I've learned a lot about you that we haven't even discussed, so it's been really cool.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me, man. Really cool.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hognose One podcast. If you're a hog pod or you just want to share with anyone you know, we are offering a discount code for our books via our book printer, Book Baby. So just punch in code 2024 at checkout for any of our Hognose titles.